really thinking through what results they need from that purchase. And then they find, for example, they bought a pre-sale condo because a friend made some money on it.
Right.
And now the tenant can't, the mortgage, the rent they're collecting doesn't even cover the mortgage. Now they have to fire sale it, and they end up losing money. And they say, oh, well, I shouldn't have done anything. But if they really sat down and said, well, you know, 5, 10 years from now, here's the results I want. What vehicle? Because really, here's the bottom line, Fanny. Real estate is just a vehicle that helps you accomplish the end result. So I caution people, don't get caught up in, you know, the allure of how sexy that vehicle looks. Focus on whether it will accomplish the end results for you.
Sure, and you have to have some money in the bank because there is always the wild factor, the leaky condo factor, the place you buy that wasn't quite what you thought it was. Stable inflation rate, I guess that's the Bank of Canada's problem, and keeping interest rates low, Bank of Canada's problem. How will that affect us in March, do you think? I know they're manipulating and printing money, doing whatever they do.
Well, it's interesting. I really think that the Bank of Canada and Ottawa got together here and said, one of the things that I found interesting is Monday they made the announcement, Jim Flaherty made his announcement. I thought, what was the urgency to make that announcement Monday? And then I clued in. Tuesday was the Bank of Canada announcement saying no change in rates. What Flaherty did with Ottawa making rule changes, it took the pressure off the Bank of Canada to raise rates. Now, on one hand, Bank of Canada, if inflation goes over 2%, there's pressure on them to raise rates. But if they raise rates, one of the unintended consequences is your Canadian dollar will continue to raise above par. And we know what that does to the export sectors, and that may impact areas in Ontario and Quebec. And there are a few votes in Ontario and Quebec.
Of course, and business investing in Canada.
Absolutely.
Business investment, big.
So what I think is going to be very interesting to watch in the upcoming weeks and months, Fanny, is the next date that Bank of Canada has to make the rate announcement is March 1st. Watch for the rhetoric in the headlines and the newspapers to see what the Bank of Canada's plans will be for March 1st. I think they'll raise rates by 1/4 point March 1st. I think the headlines are going to be all over this. And at the same time, the new mortgage rules take effect in March. Combine these two factors and you're going to have this almost get in now while you can. I think February will be the start of our traditional spring market in real estate. I think there's going to be a rush of people trying to get in the market and trying to take advantage of 35-year amortizations before the rules change and before rates go up, and it's going to have a mini flood on the market. So watch for that in the upcoming weeks.
So are you telling me in February possibly it could be a seller's market?
Possibly. I think you're going to see a surge. You're going to see people putting their homes on the market more, and you're going to see a real increase in people going out there getting rate holds before rates go up, and also people who are saying, the only way I'm going to be able to get a home is with a 35-year amortization. Now the clock is ticking, so there's going to be a huge surge in activity in the next few weeks.
If your mortgage is floating, your mortgage is floating, and your rate isn't fixed, time to lock in, not lock in, what?
You know what? Rates are still well below 4% on 5-year fixed mortgages. And what's interesting is when the Bank of Canada changes, that doesn't mean the 5-year fix changes at the same time. My prediction is 5-year money will move in advance of the Bank of Canada announcement. It'll actually go up beforehand and will catch a lot of people off guard. Now is an excellent time to lock in those rates or get rate holds if you're thinking of buying.
Do these new rules affect buying real estate in France, in the United States, anywhere else?
Not at all, unless, of course, you're accessing the equity in your home to go purchase elsewhere, which is not necessarily a bad idea. But again, before you used to be able to access equity up to 90% of your home, which I personally would never recommend anybody do. That rule has been cut back to 85%. So is there an impact? Marginal. In my opinion, these new rule changes are much ado about nothing. All the impacts and changes will have marginal effect on the real estate market.
Well, and as you said, if you can't afford another $100 a month, you have to rethink.
Absolutely.
Or stop drinking lattes.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, nice to see you again.
My pleasure.
Peter Kinch, the Canadian Real Estate Action Plan, proven investment strategies to kickstart and build your portfolio. And most financial experts tell me, first and foremost in Canada, pay down your mortgage. Pay off your credit cards, but pay down your mortgage. You agree?
Pay down the mortgage on the principal residence, but don't be afraid to use it wisely to use that equity to create wealth in buying other real estate. But don't use your equity to subsidize your lifestyle.
Okay. Okay. Coming up, swell people make swell stories. Mike McCardle can make a story about a daffodil, a pink alligator, or a polka dot house. Riveting. Stay with us.